making them bounce. Lean and drop, making them bounce. Making them bounce. Making them bounce. Lean and drop, making them bounce. Making them bounce.
First stream, everybody. Let's go. How's the mic sound? Okay? Good? You guys hear me all right? All right. Well. I love this kind of music. Surfing music. Tim's here. Hey, Tim. Thanks for coming in. Retirement is underrated. Tim. Appreciate you showing up there, buddy. Doing a mic check. Everything sounds all right? Turn this music down. Oh. Well. All right. First stream, everybody. We got some stuff to go over. Let me just turn this. Boom. All right. Well, thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. We got some stuff to go over. We're going to talk about, I don't know, stuff, I guess. Talk about the World Cup going on today, and I've got some genealogy stuff happening, and I was going to go over some of the stuff that I'm doing with my family tree and show you around Ancestry.com if you haven't gone there before. And let's see, what else we got going on? I don't know, life in general, I guess. Maybe share a couple clips of some stuff. I found this weekend was pretty interesting. I went out on a bike ride, and my main purpose of going out was to film my I was going to film my I've got a storage locker that I pay for, right? And it's a big one. It's like a 10 by 20. And it's like absolutely filled with like Christmas knickknacks and Christmas decorations. It's hilarious. I also have other stuff in there. Like I've got some guitar amplifiers, and I've got I've got like an air compressor still in a box that was on sale one time at Harbor Freight. I'm sure everybody kind of knows what that is. Fear of missing out kind of thing. So yeah, I bought that air compressor. It's been sitting in my storage unit unused for a year now, something like that. It was like last summer that I bought it. I bought it for I don't know. I had this idea of doing like I had saw these. I don't know if you've ever seen these. You've ever seen these contraptions that are like it's like a vacuum oil changer. And so what it is like, instead of getting up underneath the car, pulling the plug on it, letting the oil drain out, what you do is you use these vacuum pump hoses. You put it down and it drains the oil. It like pulls the oil out through the dipstick hole and fills up the oh my god, I hit my Windows key. All right, here we go. And it fills up the it's like a container with a suction on it. And so the purpose is to get most of the oil out of the pan. So when you go ahead and pull the plug, you can just, there's not much oil spilling out. So, and then it's supposed to make it cleaner and easier to, redo your oil and Also, like if you're gonna have to do something with the oil, so you got to take it somewhere to get it recycled or whatever. So it's supposed to make it easier for that, but it also works on compressed air, so you can use an air compressor on it. And so that's why I bought the air compressor. And you know what? I bought the air compressor, and I never bought the contraption to change the oil. So it's just like one of those things, right? But I'm sure I'll use it for something at some point, right? So let's get started with some of the news going on. Earlier today I was at work. I know some people are retired. I get it. I get it. You gotta retire at some point, but I'm not quite there yet. I got about 4.5 years to go. But because I work for New York State and I've been there for 26 years, I get certain, I guess, seniority privileges, kind of, I guess, maybe. But anyways, while I'm doing my work, I have on the side of my monitor, I usually have um, a video playing or something I can listen to so I can, work on my spreadsheets and all that stuff. Well, today I had the World Cup on and I was watching um, the Brazil versus Japan match. And I really thought, yeah, you're retired in 2023. I'm not that far away. Not that far away. I've got plans, which may include me like moving to Florida or something. I'm not sure. I really like New York State. I just don't like New York State. You know what I mean? I love New York and I love the people here. I just don't like New York. You know, I just don't like living here, having to, it's a whole thing. Anyways, so let's see here. Let's see if I can do this. And so I was watching the game and it looked like Japan was going to have it, right? Because they took a 1-0 lead. And I was like, wow, Japan is looking really, really good. But no, no, they were up 1-0 in the half, and then Brazil in the second half scored, and then I'm like, okay, well they're gonna split, they're gonna split points with Brazil. That's not too bad, right? If they could just if it ends in a tie, then both teams get like 1 point, so that's not bad, right? But it was going into it had 11 minutes. It ended up having 11 minutes of extra time added at the end of the game because of penalties or injuries or something, anything that happens in the game. Usually the time gets extended by the referee. So it had 11 minutes, right? So it was on. So at 90 minutes is a full game. I think it was like at 100 minutes or something like that. It was like I think this is what I'm remembering. It was right. But or maybe I was looking. No, no, that was a different game. No, this was like 6 minutes left and it was 95. It was at 95 minutes and Brazil scored again and they stole the game. It's crazy. Crazy. Unbelievable. So yeah, Japan. Sorry. You just, I was kind of cheering for him, because like, you know, I was hoping somebody would beat Brazil. Not that I hate Brazil. It's just that you know what, they always win, and Japan had not made it out of the elimination. That we're in like the bracket of 32 now, but whatever. So Thursday, um, Thursday is it Thursday? No, Wednesday. Sorry, Wednesday at 8 o'clock. America's playing. They're playing Bosnia Herzegovina, and hopefully they'll do better than they did against Turkey. Um, uh, they lost against Turkey. I don't know whether it's Turkey. Every time I watch the World Cup, right there, it says Turkey, and then there's like an e at the end, and so they pronounce Turkey. So hold on a second. Let me see this here. All right, let me ask Google here. Is there such a country named Turkey? English Turkey. Turkey international name. Oh, so it was Turkey. I've been sitting here calling it Turkey the whole time. I'm like Turkey. I'm like, I don't even know who the heck Turkey is. I know who Turkey is. I don't know who Turkey is. Man, oh man. It shows you what I know. Anyways, so United States lost to Turkey last time, and it was kind of a throwaway game. Turkey was going to go home anyways. They were eliminated, and we had already won the group. But if they lose to Bosnia and Herzegovina, we lose. Where we go, well, we don't go home. We are home. But yeah, that's the end of the tournament for us if we lose. So that's that for that. So how is everybody doing today? I see Tim's in the chat, and not quite sure if we got anybody else, but I posted that I was gonna do the stream. I did, advertised a little bit, but it's my first stream, so it is what it is. So I'm kind of all right doing what I'm doing. So let's talk a little bit about ancestry research. I just watched Jody's genealogy. If you've not seen her channel, maybe I can pull it up on here. Jody genealogy. I just watched her premiere about it was about American Civil War patriot and what happened to him. And the video is only 34 minutes long. Let me share this here. There you go. This is her page. And she does some really amazing videos and some really amazing storytelling. So if you get a chance to check her out, you should. It's really a great channel. And I learned a lot. She went over like if you don't know, if you've never gone on this, there's a website called Find a Grave. If you ever have to find a relative's grave and where they're buried, right? Go to Find a Grave, make yourself an account. You can search for relatives in certain areas, in certain cemeteries and stuff. If you're looking for historical people, you can find them through Find a Grave, all sorts of stuff. But the other thing is attached to the listings for people in Find a Grave for dead people in Find a Grave. Attached to them are all like an archive of like you can find like birth records, military records, residence records, census records, all sorts of stuff. Which leads me into my main discussion tonight, which is genealogy and family research. My mother, when she was obviously an adult, and she found out from family, her mother, and her that she was adopted. So she found out from her adoptive mother, and by that time, so she was adopted by a woman who was biologically her aunt. So her mother was her mother was somebody who she thought was her aunt this whole time, her whole life. And so she thought for the longest time that, there's no way she's going to be able to find out. She had stories. People had told her stories. Now her aunt Jenny had told her the story about how when her mother, let me just pull up my my tree here. So this is Ancestry. If you've never seen Ancestry, hold on a second. Let me share my screen. All right, this is my Ancestry account, and let me. So I have 1,318 people on my tree. Apparently, I think that's right. Anyways, let's go to my tree. I've got some other trees that I've been doing for other people too, but let's move it over here, and I can zip in. All right, here's my mother right here. This is it says it says Therian Malfris. What is this? Lorraine Therian, right? That's her married name from her last husband is Therian, but she was Malfris was her maiden name, adoptive maiden name. Technically, she was somebody else. But Elizabeth Molitor, Aunt Betty, as we knew her, right? Elizabeth Molitor was her birth mother. Okay. Let me get out of this because I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to ruin it. All right. So Elizabeth Molitor was her birth mother. And so her Aunt Jenny had told her that she had met her birth father one time. And apparently, the deal was this: her birth father was stationed at Mitchell Airfield down in Long Island during 1930s, right? My mother was born in, let me just double check, 32. It's going to be 32, right? 32. 34, sorry. 34. She was born in 34. 1934 she was born. And so we knew that he was in the Army Air Corps, right, in the 1930s, right, stationed at Mitchell Field. But there was no way of really knowing it. No real way of like figuring out who this person was, because you just didn't have records back then, right? You have records, right? But there's no way of us like tracking it. We had no idea where to even start with this guy, right? Until I joined Ancestry, right? And got my DNA results. So let's go over let's go over my origins first. Right. So when you first get your DNA results from Ancestry, you get all this stuff here, and it tells you like where you're from, like where it doesn't tell you like, all right, it doesn't tell you where your ancestors are from, right? It does, but it doesn't. What your DNA results here tell you, right, is that the DNA clusters that you have, they're found in these places, in all of these. I'm like pointing at my screen, not realizing, I realize you guys can't see me pointing, but so like the people with the same DNA markers as me, right, are found in these areas, right? So you could deduce from excuse me, the percentages. Let me just take a drink here. This is Heineken non-alcoholic, by the way. I don't drink alcohol, but I love the taste of beer, so I stopped drinking alcohol a long time ago because, yeah, I don't do well on alcohol. So, yeah, that's a whole story for another time. Trust me. But let's see here. So you could deduce by looking at my ancestry, right? So you see Norway, Denmark, right? Netherlands. And these are like low percentages, right? But these are all the places where like the Vikings came from, right? They came from. Now, remember what I said. It doesn't tell you who your ancestors, where they were from necessarily. They just tell you where your DNA markers are concentrated. So people with the same DNA markers as me are located in places like Munster, Ireland. Now let's zoom in. Oh my goodness, this thing's gonna be like a pain in the butt. All right, so like you see here, Munster, Ireland, right? Right here. Right. This I don't even want to butcher that name. Connacht, Ireland, Central Scotland, and Northern Ireland, right? Northern Wales and Northwest England, and it's all you can see the percentages here, right? So uh, uh, I'm mostly Irish, sort of, but I'm mostly like English too. Like I, I come from the UK, basically, right? But the interesting part is this: all of these places that are showing up here are all the places where the Vikings settled and conquered and set up kingdoms, right? These are all, so you see, like some of these places are all like whited out. And so, yeah, let me do this again here. So you see how this is like whited out here, whited out, whited out, whited out. That's because the Vikings came across from Denmark and Norway and like the Netherlands and stuff. And yeah, they first did here and like, but this part here, this is the interesting part to me, right? Is that if I click on this, you see that there is, where is it? Southwestern England and northwestern Europe, right? And so this is like Belgium, France, but it's basically it's like Normandy, right? It's where, so 1066, William the Conqueror, he was he was English, he's Anglo-Saxon, right? But he was banned. He went over to Normandy to live, and then came back and whooped everybody's butt and took over England. Uh, so yeah, so I've got you know Norman blood and English blood and Viking blood and all this other stuff. Anyways, so back to the main story, right? So we couldn't figure out, there was no way we could figure out um who her birth father was without having like a DNA test done. So I did mine and got the results back. And then I had my sisters do theirs. And then finally, we had my mother do hers, which was a chore, but we did it, right? So we got her DNA done. I do have her results, but I'm not going to share them. And so then I started looking at the matches. So on here, you'll see there's summary. So they'll give you a summary of like your ancestral journeys and this, that, and the other thing, and matches and through lines. So through lines are cool because you can kind of look at how you're related to everybody and through what ancestor you're related to people by. So but I started looking at the matches, right? And because I was looking for people on my mother's side, what you can do is you can check your matches by the parent right here. So I checked the parent, right? No, that's okay. You don't have to show me that. And then I'm looking on my mother's side, the maternal side, right? So I'm going to hit the view matches, and I've gotten more since the last time apparently. So in my tree, I know that her mother's maiden name was Molitor. And they're all from like Long Island. They're all Irish. I mean, these people are Irish. and they all lived in Long Island and stuff. So anybody that I found that was connected to the Molotors, I instantly discounted, right? They're not somebody I'm looking for, right? But you had people show up with like, so there was like these people like this last name. I don't, this guy's last name is Zindel, and Zindel. There's Irene Murphy here, Travis Zindel. So I started looking into these people, right? And let me just get back to my tree here. So I'm gonna do main cam so I don't spoil it for everybody. So, oh, okay, cool, Tim, you're back. All right, I don't know how long you put that in, but all right, sorry. she missed the genealogy stuff. I mean, I can go back over it if you want me to, but I don't know if I'm gonna remember everything that I said, but so, all right. So, let me just zoom in on this first. So I was going over all the DNA matches, right, on my mother's side. And there is a way to kind of filter, like, all right, somebody who's connected to the Molotors, and then you could say, I don't want to see anybody else connected to the Molotors. And then what's left over are the unknowns, right? You don't know who these people are. Let me just pull up her profile. All right. So this is where it gets weird. And I'm going to say it gets weird. Now, I'm going to be the first to tell you, okay? Now listen close. I'm going to be the first one to tell you. Yeah, you can block people from seeing her. I just made mine public because I was in the process of looking for my mother's birth father, right? So I wanted to make sure that I kept everything public so people could like contact me, and it would just be easier for people to find me, right? So where was I? Oh yeah. So I was going through, so I filtered out like all the people that had anything to do with the Molotors from Long Island, right? And then all the people left over were the mystery people, right? And like I said, this is where it gets a little weird. Okay. I'm gonna be the first one to tell you that I'm not skeptic about a lot of things, right? Except for Santa Claus, obviously. Right. But I'm skeptic about a lot of things, right? And I'm not overly religious. I'm not like, I don't necessarily like believe in ghosts or anything like that. I don't know. It's like I've never seen evidence of it. I've never seen any proof that stuff like that exists. I know there's a bunch of, oh, sorry, I just hit my desk here. Uh, I know there's a bunch of like ghost hunting societies and stuff. Like there's one I had been watching. I watch them just in case, right? Just in case they come up with something that is like mind blows my mind, right? And I'm like, but it never it never happens. Usually what happens is they pull out these now they're phone apps, right? I could get one now in the Google store, Play Store, but what they are these apps. They're called spirit boxes, right? And what happens is it's basically, I remember when these things first came out, they were handheld like radios. And what they would do was the digital ones, they would fix them so they would just like keep skipping through all of the radio bands, right? All the different stations, right? And then every once in a while they'd sit there, and the theory goes you can use the radio waves, or the ghosts use the radio waves to answer your questions. I'm like, what, come on now. So this thing is like, it scans through the radio stations, right? and they're asking questions. What's your name? What's your name? And then you hear, it's going, and then you hear somebody go, Bob, like that. They go, oh, hey, Bob, what's up? How you doing? I mean, like, are you haunting here? No. No. Then how are you answering us through this thing? You know what I mean? But then it became too obvious to people that this was like, what are you doing? Right. So they took that and they turned it into something else. They turned it into, they put filters on these things, right? So you don't hear you don't hear it scanning anymore, right? But it's doing the exact same thing. So they filtered out the noise of the scanning, right? And they put like special effects on it, like echoes and stuff like that. So it sounds like they're answering you from beyond the grave or whatever, but it's the same stupid thing, right? And I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody in the chat who may be a ghost hunter, right? And using these things, but like, come on. Like, just walk around with a video camera and a camera, and if you catch something cool, you know what I mean? Or like, a tape recorder or something, like try it the old fashioned way, right? But like, they're fun to watch. You are right. You're right. They are fun to watch. But that's about it. They're for entertainment purposes only, I think, So anyway, so I'm the first one to tell you that I'm not really the kind of person to be believing in this stuff. But I will say this. As I was going through the lists, now, granted, I'm going through all the connections, right? All these people that are showing up as DNA matches to me that aren't Molotors. They're people from families. I have no idea who they are, right? Where they're from, what they're doing there, anything. But I do know that I'm looking for my mother's father, my birth grandfather. So I will say this, that going through the list, I was looking for a common connection, a common thread. But this person that I'm about to show you, it was almost like when I saw her name, she was like, hey, buddy, right here, right here. Psst, psst, psst. Hey, buddy, stop scrolling, stop doing what you're doing. Just look right here. I'm the person you're looking for. This person right here. And the name, it just stuck with me, right? So I will share this with you. Let me get her up there. So this is my maternal great-grandmother, my mother's grandmother, Grace May Stallbird from Lackawanna County in Pennsylvania. She died in 1949. She was born in 1877. Interesting character, interesting lineage as well. So how do I know that Grace May Stallbird is my great-grandmother? Well, number one, the DNA from my DNA matches with all of these people and all these people across the board, right? The one name that keeps popping up, right, is Grace May Stallbird. And so I know you can deduce from that one of her offspring was my grandfather, my mother's father, right? Problem is she was married twice. And she's got two groups of kids, right? At least I thought I'm like, great. I found the person that I needed to find, but now I have no idea how to separate this out. How am I going to do this? Right. And again, I just have to say, preface it with, you know, I don't believe any of this stuff. Right. But I do have to say that it was almost like there was a little voice in the back of my head that was saying, just look a little deeper. Just look. We're right here. Just look. So when I threw up my hands and I was about to like say, the heck with this, I'm not like, like, how am I going to figure this out? That little voice in my head kind of like stuck there and said, just relax, look a little deeper. So I did. I did. Now, to show you on the right hand side, I'm going to show you right here. This is like, you guys should be able to see this. Off to the right, you'll see that she was first married to Dominic Francis Christie. And they had all of these kids, right? Anthony, Helen, Grace, John, James, Francis, Anna Marjorie, and Thomas Christie, right? And I'm like, great, 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 cool. All right. It is what it is, right? I don't know how I'm going to do that. So I also saw that she was married a second time to an Arthur Emmett Zindel, right? And they had Anthony Maurice. Well, that's from the Christies. Oh, they had 3 sons. That's right. I don't even know why I'm going through all that stuff. They only had 3 sons. Arthur Merlin Zindel, Joseph H. Zindel, Edward Emmett Zindel. So I've got, my work cut out for me with this. And I'm sitting here trying to like figure out like where the connection is. So in the back of my mind, I have what is it? They're fun to watch, and I have seen radio stuff too. I'm waiting for one of them to say, "Get off my back." Yeah, no kidding. So I'm sitting here trying to figure out, like, how am I going to figure this out? How am I going to do this? And again, that voice came into my head, and it was like, just look a little deeper, look a little deeper. So I went back through. I made this spreadsheet and everything, right? I don't have it on this computer here, but I made this spreadsheet and I had laid out everybody that I had DNA matches to that Grace May Stallbird was showing up with, right? And so I went through all of those, each person, right, to try and figure out how I was connected to them, right? It turns out the people that I'm looking at the highest percentage of DNA matches that I got, right? Yeah, it's a lot of people. You are right. It is a lot of people. But again, I felt like I was kind of driven and steered in a certain way. And as weird as that sounds, and I'm going to tell you again, not my thing, right? So, so I was looking at like the highest DNA matches that fall with these people, right? With everybody that was an offspring of Grace May Stallbird. I started with like the highest matches, right? And then I just worked my way down. So when you get to a certain point, below a certain threshold, you can't think that it's your maternal grandfather. You know what I mean? It's not. It's just the DNA match so low at some point that it's just not possible, right? And most people, the records didn't match up anyways. Um, but so I started looking at possibly that there was a my thing was going out. That there was a that I was going through the matches, right, of the highest matching DNA, and when it came to the Christies, right, the highest matching DNA were from the daughters of that first marriage for Grace May Stallbird. So I know the daughters. I know times in modern times being what they are, but I'm telling you, uh, her daughters could not have been my grandfather, right? I don't know about modern whatever going on nowadays, but it's just not gonna work. So I know through a process of elimination that it's not anybody that falls under the Christies. Okay. And if it was, then the Zindels, right, would not be as high ranked on my list. So let me go back to my DNA, right? I'm going to go back to matches, and you're going to see by parent. I'm going to go to mom, right? Titus. Titus is related to Zindel, or related to Grace May, but through the Zindels, right? Molitor is, obviously that's not who I'm looking for. Warner, I want to say it's Grace May. Yeah, Grace May's here, and so you'll see here Grace May Christie. So here's one that was ranked high on the list from Grace May Stallbird. It was Grace May Christie, right? So here's an example of like, it can't be this person, right? Because Grace May Christie can't be my grandfather, right? But so you start looking at the higher up matches, and they were all people that came from the Zindel side, the second marriage of uh, Grace May Stallbird. So all these people there, these are all like they're all matching up with Grace May Stallbird on the Zindel side, right? So let's go back. Let's go back. Let me take you off this camera first while I find it. Is it going to work? There we go. Okay. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. All right. Grace May, there you are. Let me see your profile, please. Okay. Go back to the screen share. There we go. All right. So we know it's not the Christies. Like at this point, I am 90% positive that it's not the Christies, right? So that leaves who? The Zindel boys, right? The Zindel brothers. And we have Arthur Merlin Zindel, we have Joseph H. Zindel, and Edward Emmett Zindel. So not only did my mother know that this person was stationed at Fort Mitchell Airfield, Mitchell Airfield in Long Island during the 1930s, she also knows that he's from Pennsylvania originally, right? And all of realistically, all of these people have connections to Pennsylvania. So the chore was trying to find a connection, and I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. Oh, I am using Meld, MELD Studio, and it's so easy. Let me just tell you. Let me just tell you something. Let me tell you something. Listen, I've been wanting to stream, right? I've been thinking like, why should I not do that. I see a lot of people doing it. I saw you, you're streaming and stuff. I love your streams. And you're talking about all the like the Facebook marketplace and making, that's another thing I gotta do. I got so much crap I gotta get rid of. Anyways, OBS. I actually downloaded OBS. I had it before, and I was like going through it, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like so much, right? There's so much to learn, and so I started looking up alternatives, and I was gonna go into there was another one called Emux or something like that, or was and it seemed pretty easy to do, but you had to like there's like a free plan, and they put the sticker on the thing for you, right? And so you're streaming, and there's like a over here there's like a sticker on here that says Emux, so it's like powered by Emux. So I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. And then I came across this one, and it's free. Meld Studio. And I started looking at it. I was like, oh my God, this is like easy to do. This took me no time whatsoever to set up. It's crazy. It's crazy how good this program is, and how you get it for free is crazy. Yeah, you can get it for PC. They're just coming out with PC came out first, believe it or not, and they're coming out for iOS after I guess pretty soon, if not already. I'm not sure. I don't care because I'm not a Mac user. So yeah, if you should absolutely check that out. As a matter of fact, after I'm done telling this story, I'll pull up their one of their promo videos and we can watch it. That's fine with me. I love this program. So easy to use. So easy to use. So let me just yeah, it's Meld Studio, MELD Studio. Yep, you got it. And it is easy peasy lemon squeezy. They've got all, and it's free. It's free. It is free. Freedom. And it's they tout it. They say it's made by streamers for streamers. And so it's a bunch of, millennials. Millennials. They're nice, I guess. People running the country. Zoomers. Maybe Zoomers. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't really know which one's which. I'm Gen X. I don't really care which one's which. Anyways. So yeah, it's a program that's made for streaming by streamers. And so everybody, and they have in like this whole thing now that you can become an affiliate if you fill out they have a form that you fill out, and you say, hey, I'm streaming using your thing. I want to be an affiliate, and I want you to give me some stuff. And if you get approved, then they'll promote your stream, and then they'll say, hey, cool, you're a cool person, and we want to go ahead and promote your stream for you and give you all this free swag. So maybe I can get a t-shirt. Oh, by the way, see this t-shirt? Where am I? Right here. For Adventure, Renegade. I did a little trim of my beard earlier. I thought I got all the hair off of there, but anyways, this is my my new t-shirt from Jamis Bicycles, and my cap that they sent me. Jamis Bicycles, because I love Jamis. Best bicycle company in the world. That's it. That's all I got to say about that. Anyways, so Grace May Stallbird. So I know it's one of her three sons, the Zindel brothers, right? The problem is connecting the dots and trying to figure out. So I started with obviously the oldest, Arthur Merlin Zindel. And I looked at his profile, and I searched he was in the military. Of all three of the Zindel brothers, right? He was in the military. And I was like, I think I got him, right? Problem was, the military records that I found had him listed as serving in World War II in the 1940s. And my mother was conceived in the 1930s from somebody who was stationed at Mitchell Airfield in Long Island, right? Now, and it had him listed as not even in the like the Army Air Corps or anything like that. It had him listed as, what did he do? He drove like a bulldozer or something like that. It was some like mundane, like something, right? It not completely not connected to what I needed it to be connected to. So I was like, great, okay. So I moved down the line, right? Joseph H. Zindel. Let me just pull this back up here. So I looked at Arthur, right? And then I looked at Joseph. Joseph was next. Joseph, and about this time, I was contacted by the granddaughter of Joseph H. Zindel. And I say me, I wasn't contacted. See, my mother is 92. So we got her to take her DNA test. And uh, to expect my mother at 92 to manage her account here on Ancestry and be able to like read her DNA results and go through all this stuff and tell me what I need to know is just not going to happen. So I managed her account for her. So when I say I was contacted by the granddaughter of Joseph H. Sindel, essentially it was my mother, but it was me, right? So I think I kind of creeped her out at first because she's like, hey, looks like we're related somehow. Are you some kind of lost aunt? And I was like, no, I'm not, cousin, you know? So, and I haven't talked to her in a long time either, so I don't really know what's going on with her. I know she's got some disabilities or something. I'm not quite sure. I don't know. I don't really know her, you know. But anyways, so I was looking through Joseph H. Zeno. I was like, you know what? This is close enough where I could say, like, it might be this guy. And I was asking her, I was like, was he ever in the military? Because I can't find any records. She's like, no, he wasn't in the military. He was a traveling musician. I'm like, oh, a traveling musician, huh? It's like, wow. How the heck do I connect the dots on that? You know, a traveling musician. I would have to like connect that he was in town at that time and this, that, and the other thing. So I asked my mother, I was like, is it possible? Is it possible, right, that she hooked up with a musician? She's like, no, 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 no. This, she was told very specifically by her aunt that this guy was in the Army Air Corps, right? And he was stationed at Mitchell Airfield during the 1930s. She's like, he was not a traveling musician. And I was like, okay, great. Okay. And she was adamant about it. It's like, this is not even like a discussion. Great. Okay. So I looked at Edward Emmett Zindel next. And I was like, hey, let's try this guy. Nope. No military records. The only one of the three, right, that had a military record was Arthur Merlin Zindel. But he was served in World War II long after my mother was born, right? So I know it's none of the Christies. I can't find a connection to it, any of these guys. I honestly, I thought it was going to be the second son, Joseph H. Zindel. I was like, it's got to, maybe she's confused. Maybe she thought that, you know, maybe she thought that he was in the military. Maybe he lied to her. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. But I don't know what to do. at this point, right? And that's when that little voice in the back of my head came again. And it said, look a little further. And I'm like, wow, look a little further. I'm like at this point, I want to put it to bed and just tell my mom, tough luck, lady. I don't know. I don't know who this person is. I don't think we're ever going to figure this out. Right. But there was like that nagging voice in my head saying, don't give up. Look a little further. You got this. And then there was like this nagging thing of, come find me. And I'm like, and it was like this nagging urge, like, come find me, come find me. It was weird, weird thing. And again, I don't believe in this stuff. I'm going to be the first one to tell you, look, we'll do it again. I don't believe in this stuff at all. Not me. Not me. I don't believe in this stuff at all. Just to clear that up, just so we got it straight. All right. So, come find me. All right. How do you want me to find you? Well, attached to Ancestry, right? There's another website that falls under the umbrella of Ancestry, and it is called Find a Grave. And I'm going to view Find a Grave, and we're going to view the record. See the records. Grace May. Cover more. Okay, yeah. How come you're doing this there thing? Oh, you know why? Because I got a new browser. That's why. Okay, cool. Grace May Stallbird. US Find a Grave Index. Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is it. Find a Grave. All right. So I have found this is her Find a Grave section here. All right. So underneath this, right, I found, and I haven't done this in a while, so you're going to have to bear with me. I probably should have like brushed up on this. All right. So if you look here, you have all, like, you have not all, but you have most of like her offspring are like listed here, right? So I'm like, okay, let me, was it like great grandpa had a little fling while he was, no. So I started at the top here, right? And if you could see here, Arthur Merlin Zindel, right? And I clicked on it. Okay. Arthur Merlin Zindel. Now, remember what I said to you. We know what? We know that my mother was conceived in, what it was, 1933, right? By a man, right? Who was stationed at Mitchell Air Base in Long Island, right? During, I guess it would have been peacetime, right? 33-ish, right? I don't really know what was going on in 33. There's a run up to the big war. I'm not sure. But so I'm just like looking through this stuff, right? Let me go back to the screen share here. So I'm like looking through this stuff. So you notice on the site, on the side here, so you have like the vital stuff here, where the person's buried, who their mother was, and then there's like a URL for the memorial for them and stuff. But on the side here, it gives you what's called suggested records. Okay. And the suggested record, one of the suggested records is, if I scroll down, I should be able to find it. Let's see. Drum roll, please. Here it is. The 1930 United States Federal Census. 1930 United States Federal Census. And we all know the census just doesn't, especially back then, the census didn't just take a year to complete. So, I mean, you had to go all over the place. There was no, everybody had to write down where they were and all this other stuff. And, it was a whole big thing. We were still a big country back then. So you can imagine that the 1930 census being done, right, would take at least until 1933. Can we agree on that? Right. Thank you. So if I click on here for the census for Arthur Zindel, and I go here, right? So here's a neat thing, right? You can see here it gets like it's highlighted, right? So they highlight the person that you're looking for. So there's Arthur Zindel right there, right? And it tells you he's age 21 at this point, right? Now I'm going to show you. You ready? You ready? Where is it? New York, Nassau. You see it? Mitchell Field, New York. This was April 4th, right? He was in the U.S. Army. So the original paperwork that I found for his military deployment during World War II, right, where he drove a bulldozer for the Army Air Corps, was his second deployment. This was his first deployment during peacetime, right? And so his first deployment was as an airplane mechanic. And during his duties, during his deployment, his service, he was stationed in the 1930s at Mitchell Airfield in New York. Now, do I say close enough? Or do I say, could be, could be, could be. So to me, like the evidence, the circumstantial evidence on this to me is pretty overwhelming, right? Not only am I connected by DNA, but I also found the record that supports, the original story that my mother was told by her aunt. That no, because she said that she went babysitting. She went to go visit her sister Elizabeth, right, who is my mother's birth mother, right, and she was babysitting off base, close to the base somewhere. And when she got there, there was a man there, right? A young man who Elizabeth apparently said was like her boyfriend. And so my aunt Jenny, not Betty, Aunt Jenny, um, I've been saying Betty, I meant Jenny this whole time. Aunt Jenny said that it was somebody who was in the military and he was stationed at Mitchell Field and she met him and she knows that's the father. No doubt about it. Adamant about it. So I'm calling it. I'm pretty sure we got him, right? Ladies and gentlemen, we got him, right? One of those things. And so I added him to, let me back out of this. Ancestry. So I started adding him to my tree. There he is, Arthur Merlin Zindel. So I officially adopted Arthur Merlin Zindel as my grandfather. right? And I have officially adopted, or did she adopt me? That's the question, right? Grace May Stallbird as my great grandmother. So I don't know. Like, you tell me, who adopted who? I just want to know, right? Because since I've done this, I haven't heard that little voice in my head anymore, right? I saying that. Let me just say that I just spoke to my sister, my older sister Jennifer. I'm the youngest of a bunch of kids, right? And I just spoke to my sister Jennifer the other night because I'll show you something else on here that's really cool. On the Ancestry, they have a new function, a new feature on here that's blow your mind, right? And if you don't have an account for Ancestry, this may prompt you to do it. I pay like $150 every 3 months for like the advanced features on it, right? But they have a new feature on here. I'll show it to you in a second. But so I told my sister Jennifer about all this stuff, and I called her and I talked to her the other night about this new feature coming on that kind of it tells you like who you're related to through people. And she was like, "We need to go see this lady. We need to go visit her grave." So I don't know when we're gonna do it, but my sister and I are gonna make plans to go and go find Grace May and say hello and thank you. The other Here's the other story, right? And this is where I'm gonna leave the whole thing tonight. Here's the story. My mother was told, right, by her mother, her birth mother, that shortly after she was born, as she was born, now the family lived in Long Island, right? And what was it, Seabreeze? Seabreeze, Long Island? Seabreeze? I think that's what, Ocean City? I don't know. Someplace down in Long Island. I don't really know about it. I know it's near, I don't know. Whatever. It's in Long Island. How big is Long Island? I don't know. But anyways, she went to Lackawanna, New York. There's a Lackawanna County in Pennsylvania, which is where the Zindel family is from. But she went to Lackawanna, New York to have my mother, right? Shortly after my mother was born, the story is that the father and his mother showed up to the hospital wanting to take the baby home because it was obvious uh, that my grandmother and him were not going to like be together or anything. I think at that point he was like he could have been married at this point. I'm not sure. A lot of stuff happens in this guy's life. All sorts of like he's he gets a divorce and then marries somebody else. But then it turns out that he's not really divorced to the first person. So he's, married twice. And so he has to get the second marriage annulled so he can go and get the divorce from the first one. And the first one is, yeah, it's like this whole thing. It was like, yeah, this guy he was a Jehovah's Witness. Nothing against Jehovah's Witnesses, but, like, dude, get your act together. But I'm not going to cast dispersions on my grandpa. All right. So it is what it is. So my question is this, like, what if my grandmother said, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, no, she's better off going with you guys. Go ahead. it's so weird how life just, you're here by chance. You know what I mean? Not going into like the whole biology of the thing, like, you know, 1 in a million shot. You know what I mean? Not going into that whole biology thing, but I'm talking about how you're here because of somebody in the past made a decision, right? So my grandmother said, no, I'm keeping her and I'm bringing her back to Long Island. So that's where my mother was raised, Long Island. But there was no like custody fight or anything like that. And when she brought her back to Long Island, that's when the whole thing came in where, you know, she was going to get adopted by her then aunt. You know, she was still an infant, a newborn. So you have to like think to yourself, like, you know, what would have been, you know, what, what could have happened? You know, I wouldn't be here, right? My sisters wouldn't be here. Who knows? Who knows what would have happened, right? But it's just weird. It's just strange. And there's a story like that on my father's side too. I'll go over some other time. But so, anyways, let me go over this new feature, right? Let me go over this new feature, which is so cool. Let me tell you, I love this new feature. It is blows your mind. So, let me share my screen. All right. So, off to the side here, I don't know if you can see it. Let me do this thing. I don't even know if this thing is like in the way or anything. Let me get rid of this. Chat. I'm gonna delete that. All right, there we go. Okay, you can see that, right? So you get like this little bell icon up here is for notifications, right? So I'm scrolling through this thing last week. And usually you get like, hey, nice work. You added 8 people. You saved 7 hints last week. Keep on going. Keep working on John Parrish. Keep working on Clara Elizabeth. Mary Carter is missing some details. All this kind of stuff, right? But as I was scrolling through, I saw this. It says, we found a history maker in your family. Read their story and see how you're related. I'm like, really? A history maker, huh? Wow. All right. So I clicked on it. Stories about your family. All right. Stories about my family. Okay. Cool. Arthur Emmett Zindel. Yep, there's Arthur Emmett Zindel. Frank Joseph Molitor. That's my great grandfather. And it tells you right here, Frederick Francis Bulmer, there's my great grandfather, World War One draft. But it's kind of like a generic kind of thing here. And like say homeowner Annie E. Leonard. No, I'm not doing that one because that's annoying. I was like, oop. So let me. All right. So let me. Frank Joseph. So I've got 2 in here for Frank Joseph Molitor, my great grandfather. I am going to just click on this. Hopefully you guys can hear this. And so when you click on it, they give you like these generic images and stuff, right? And the story's supposed to be at work in the 1950s, right? And it gives you like census stuff, census data that the AI, because this is totally AI, right? And it draws out the facts that you've already found from your research, right? And it puts it in like a story form, and it says, your grandfather did this, he was here, this, that, and the other thing, and this is what happened during the time, right? So if you listen, see if it does it. Haul out. We doing this? We're not doing this. Okay, we're not doing this. Let me try somebody else. Frederick Francis, World War I draft. Let's see this. Maybe because I'm streaming, it's not going to do it. Anyways, they've got this really generic AI voice that just reads this stuff. So it's Frederick T signed up for, and it's not even Frederick T, it's Frederick F. Frederick Francis. Oh, here it is.
During World War I, Frederick T signed up for the draft at his local Rensselaer recruiting office. Born in 1882, he and millions of others between 18 and 45 years of age were legally required to register to be selected to fight in the war. In the lead up to the first enrollment day, previews of the registration questions appeared in newspapers nationwide. Meanwhile, posters and notices, many featuring the iconic Uncle Sam, reminded your great-grandfather
I got a video
of
on my
his legal
channel
duty
about
to enroll.
the two graves of Uncle
Finally,
Sam.
on the appointed day, your great-grandfather appeared in person to fill out a form with details like his occupation, employer's name.
We get the idea, right? So it's like this generic kind of like, you know, he registered for the draft. The AI can kind of suss that out from the research that you've done. And then it puts in like the story form. But here's the really, really cool thing about this, right? Is that down on the bottom here, you see this, it says, see how you're related. So you click on that and it gives you like, obviously I know how I'm related to my great grandfather, right? This parent here would be my father. So I'm Frederick Robert Jr., basically. My father was Frederick Robert Sr. Then his dad was Frederick J. And my great grandfather was Frederick F. Frederick Francis, right? All right. Here's the mind blowing thing, right? Here we go. You want mind blowing? You want your mind blown? Right. Remember what I said? It said we found people of notable stature or whatever it was that it said, right? On the other thing. So I'm like looking through this stuff and I'm like, I know all these people. What do you mean notable? So what? You know, there's nothing notable happening here. And then I scroll down a little bit and look, my 11th great grandfather, Mayflower passenger Francis Cook. What? 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 George Burroughs, your fourth cousin 10 times removed. George Burroughs executed for witchcraft during a Salem witch trial. What? James K. Polk, my fifth cousin 5 times removed. U.S. President. What? What? Are you kidding me? So, of course I'm doing this, right? Of course I'm clicking on this. Francis Cook. What are you kidding me? Mayflower passenger, Francis Cook. Let's see if it does it. Do I have to wait? Is it like busy? Are you busy? Oh, it's muted. Of course.
Francis Cook was born in 1583 in
course I would
England,
have it muted,
and the
right?
identities of his parents are unknown. He married Hester
I'm new to
Mayhew
this,
in
folks.
1603 in the Dutch city of Leiden. Francis worked as a wool comber while living in Leiden, and he and Hester had 5 children, including one who only lived for a day. Francis
Wow.
and Hester had been living in Leiden for 6 years when Protestant separatists, led by William Brewster, migrated to the Dutch city from England. Sometime after.
Yeah, and then they hopped on and Mayflower came over. We get it. Right. Here's the juicy part. See how you're related. Remember what I said? The little voice in my head, dig deeper. Dig deeper. So I scroll down, right? There he is, Francis Cook, his daughter Mary Jane. That's the next step. Elizabeth, Jane Washburn, right? And it just tells you like you can add these people to your tree too. Down to Isaac Purton, Mary Abigail, James Perkins Stallbird, Howell, Gail Stallbird, Grace, May Stallbird, and of course Arthur Merlin Zindel. And then my mom, and then me. There she is. Nope, there she is. Not him. Her. Great grandma. I wonder if she knew she was a direct descendant of Francis Cook. What do you think? You think she knew? I don't know. I don't know. I doubt she knew. I doubt she knew. So, I'm like, Francis Cook, wow, tell me more. Hold on one second here. Let me do this. I'm going to pop over here and put that in there. Paste that stuff there. Francis Cook, Mayflower, Francis Cook. Let's see. Cook family. Nope, that's not what I want. Francis Cook Society. Where is it? Francis Cook Society. Yeah, okay. Let me bring this back up. Francis Cook Society. Right? And so, if you could prove it, you get like a neat plaque. You get like a neat, I don't know, they give you like a lapel button. I don't know. But you get like this certified whatever. And I was watching this one lady who was a direct descendant of another pilgrim, came over on the Mayflower. It took her 4 years. 4 years to be accepted into this society. I'm like, I ain't doing that. At first, I thought like maybe I could be something special, and like have like you know how it is. You find out you're a member of a crew, right? And you want to represent, right? Like when you're in high school or something like that, and you letter. You play a sport and you get that patch, that letter, and then you buy your jacket, you put the patch on the jacket, or the school ring or something. You want to represent. You want people to know. I want you to know, right? But I ain't doing that for 4 years. Sorry. So what she was talking, like you had to do all sorts of research, and you got to pay monthly, not monthly, like yearly, annual membership fees, and this, that, and the other thing. And some of these people are like direct descendants. Like some of these people, like, and I watched some of the presentations and stuff. I'm like, I don't want to go to any of these conventions. I don't want to talk to any of these people. You know what I mean? So I could just say that it's a cool thing for me to know. And that's that, right? So let me see here. Here's the cool thing on here, right? This button right here. You see what that says? Famous descendants of Francis Cook. Let's click on it. Find out, shall we? Wow. Look at this. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Does that mean I'm directly related to him? No. But somebody in my family is. And it turns out that you can go back, like, so they give like how they give the line. So you saw how like when I clicked on how I'm related to him, right? Like, is that still up? Yeah. So how you're related to him, and you can go back and you say, okay, this is the line that, but if I take this list, right, and I go back to the Francis Cook Society and I look at these famous people, I can trace back to where that intersecting point is. Where did the lines cross? And it turns out that I want to say that John John Cook is the brother of, who would it be? Like Jane Francis? No. What is this? Let me get rid of this. Get rid of that. I don't need the World Cup anymore, but John Cook, Francis Cook, and Hester. Yeah, so he would have been, so he's brother to Mary Jane, who's in my line. Right? So that's like how far back you got to go to find the connection between me and Franklin Delano Roosevelt, right? So it's like it's a cool thing, you know? It's like, all right, you know, I'll take it, whatever, you know? I can always claim it. Oh, look who else it is. Look at President George Bush and George W. Bush. So HW and W. Bush. Wow. And so again, you can take the line all the way back, right? And like figure out where it is that they intersect. Cephas Thomas, I'm gonna just say I don't know who this is. All right, no idea. William Drew Washburn, representative and senator of Minnesota. Don't know who that is, but okay. Grandma Moses, famous painter, the artist. And so you can kind of go back and see, right? Orson Welles. You can figure out, I think it's pretty much like the same as Franklin Delano Roosevelt. You got to go all the way back, pretty much. Abelhead Pierce, notable Francis Cook descendant. Abelhead Pierce had Shanghai Pierce of Rancho Grande, a Texan cattleman. He introduced the Brahmin cattle breed into Texas. Woohoo! Beach Boys lineage of Francis Cook. And Brian Wilson, I guess, right? I don't know how far back. I didn't look. Richard Gere. Cindy Crawford. You think, could I just call her up and say, hey, cuz, could I do that? I don't know. Probably not, right? I'll probably get arrested. Dick Van Dyke and Jerry Van Dyke. Anyways, so you see, it's a cool thing, right? I'm not applying to any societies. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. But it's cool. It's cool. So if I go back, all right, there's some other people, right? So I'm like, all right, how am I like related to some of these other people, right? This George Burroughs. He hung in the Salem witch trial. So apparently with this guy, what happened was he was a pastor in the Salem Village Parish, and he was only there for, what was it, 3 years, and he left after a fight over pay or something like that. And then like it was like 9 or 10 years later or something, he gets brought up on witchcraft charges, and they hang him, right? Even though when he's getting ready to swing, he goes ahead and recites the Lord's Prayer, which witches aren't supposed to be able to do. And so they hung him anyways. They were like, man, I don't think so, buddy. And I don't know what excuse they used to still hang him, but they did. And he was the only like pastor to lose his life to the witch hysteria. So again, so if I click on here's how you're related, I can go back and find my 13th time great grandfather, Sir Thomas Harrison, right? And you see here Reverend George, It's from Sir Thomas Harrison's daughter, Joan. Richard Harrison is my 12th time great grandfather. And if I go down, you see that it is my father's mother, Catherine Van Open, which is a whole nother side of the family, the Dutch immigrants who came in and were like steel workers in this area, right? Whole nother thing. I've got a video on my channel about my search for their grave sites at Albany Rural Cemetery and getting lost, which I'm planning on going back and doing again. So yeah, so like if you haven't gone into like this Ancestry, if you haven't started researching Ancestry before and you're interested in it, I'm pretty sure it's free to like sign up and just do a tree, right? Now you can't do any of like the intense like research. Like you can't. There's like you're limited as to what you can do. So you can't like search military records. You can't search like find a grave. You would have to like get a separate account for find a grave. But I think it's worth it. Excuse me. All right. Well, that's what I wanted to talk about tonight for my research for Ancestry. Let's look at Meld. I don't know. Did you get a chance to look at any of those videos? Video. Introduction. And yeah, well, thank you. Thanks for sitting through that. I appreciate it. Listen to me like. Let me see what I got here. So we're gonna watch this, okay? And you're gonna see these are all like, yeah. Did you like that Uncle Sam video? I kind of knew it was gonna turn out like that. You know what I mean? I was like, I kind of knew that. Oh, you did? I'll have to check that out. I'll have to check it. I've been so busy lately. So busy. I got so much stuff going on. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I'm looking at another bike. I don't know if you can see my one bike here in the back. That's my Jamis sequel S2. One of the greatest bikes to ever be made. Ever. In the history of bike building. In my opinion. I love my Jamis bikes. I have a Renegade too. I've got a Renegade S3. It's a steel frame gravel bike. I don't know how much you know about bikes, but I love my Jamis bikes. And I probably will never buy another brand. Jamis that's why I have my hat. I have my shirt. I'm not sponsored by them, but I'm sponsoring them. They're not sponsoring me. I'm sponsoring them. So, Jamis is it's a company out of New Jersey, and the father who founded it came from Cyprus, island of Cyprus. And I'm gonna do this. Let's just do this because I love this company so much. I'm gonna do this.
There's a legacy with our bicycle company, and it really dates back to 1937. It started with my father, George Joanno. He was born in 1910 on the island of Cyprus. He kept hearing about opportunities outside of his country. First, he immigrated to the UK. After about 8 months, my father had enough money to make the transatlantic trip from the UK into the United States. One of the first things that he noticed were all the bicycles. The bicycles in the United States were not at all like the bicycles that he had experienced in the UK. They were heavy, they were 60 pounds, 70 pounds, they were single speed, they were coaster brake. He initially thought, maybe I could start a business. Maybe I could start importing lightweight bicycles from the UK into the United States.
That's the American story, right? You could just, it used to be the American story, right? That used to be the American story. I don't know. Is it still the American story? What do you think? We still have that spirit of people coming into the country and actually like starting something and building things, and I don't know.
So he started his little
gonna say
import
anything else.
business. He imported bicycles from the UK. When the UK really wasn't as fashionable anymore, he started going into France. When that was not as good anymore, he went to Japan. After Japan, he went to Taiwan. And it was just about the time that he was in Taiwan when he started becoming sick. I went to his room one day at the hospital, and he took my hand and he said, "Karen, please don't let the bicycle company die." So I looked at him and I said, "Dad, don't worry, I won't." My interest was always in his business. Many, many times I went on business trips with him, and I would be like the little girl that
Look at
was
how young
tagging
she
along
looked.
and barely could see over the desk in front of me to whoever he was speaking with. So we really had a very nice relationship from a very young age. And I knew that I was the only person that would really be able to take it over, or so I thought, at the age of 20.
20
I
years
thought to
old, she had to
myself,
take over
my
the
father
whole
had built this
bicycle
bicycle
company.
business from scratch, from nothing. I made a promise that I would always continue the bike company, grow it, and continue that legacy that he had started, and continue with some of the values and the beliefs that he had instilled in myself and my family.
We've been at this a long time. You don't stay in business that long unless you're doing most of the things right most of the time. In many regards, we're just like our retailers. Family-owned company. Many of us have worked at the company for decades. You don't stay at a company unless you love working there.
Everybody works really hard and together with common goal, and that goal is to come out with the best products possible, get as many eyeballs as possible onto it when we launch that product, and ultimately getting riders coming into our dealers' shops asking for that product.
I am convinced there are no better bikes on the market. I'm convinced you'll never get me to say anything different. Ever. I've tried so many bicycles. I've got like a big brand name out there, Specialized. I've got a Specialized out there. I never ride it. Never. I wrote it in one of my videos. I wrote it. One of my videos. And that's only because I hadn't gotten my Renegade ready to go out yet. My Janus Renegade yet. And now I have my my sequel back here. That Specialized, I'm looking to give that to somebody. I was on like Facebook Marketplace. There's not Facebook. There's a local group to the neighborhood, and there's a guy who like fixes up bikes, and like I guess he had some bikes that he just loans bikes out to people who want to take their kids out for a ride or something. And the guy, there was one parent who used this one bike because that's the one bike that fit him, and that bike got stolen, and he posted it in the Facebook group, and I was like, I got a bike. You want a bike? I got a bike for you. He never got back to me, so I don't know. So I have a Specialized Roll 3. The thing is huge. It's an extra large. It's just a big behemoth thing. And yeah, so I got to make room for another bike because I'm looking at another Jamis bike. So,
Cool thing about the product team here at Jamis, we can be focused on exactly the bikes that we want to ride. We don't have to answer to a big, huge board or other investors. We're a small enough team, and if we think that it's a cool concept and we'd have fun with this particular bike, we can start developing and take it from there. Basically have the freedom to make any toys we want.
yeah.
We're able to ride and go off our personal experiences, and we can follow our passion and follow what we really want to do. A great example of that is when Jamis made the decision to go with the 650 wheel size. Everyone else in the industry thought we were crazy. Well, fast forward a few years, all the industry is selling 650B wheel sizes.
These are the people
we
you
were
want
one
to
of
buy
the first people
your
on
bikes
that wave to do that.
You know,
there's really not a whole lot of bikes that a customer would come in looking for that we can't supply. So I think that's one of our great strengths.
Mountain, road, kids, cruisers, lifestyle, leisure, fitness, transit. Jamis has got it all. And we've had it all since the 80s.
Our website generates a tremendous amount of traffic every day.
That's not even what the
it's
website
not
looks
just
like
people
anymore.
visiting
It's way
mountain
better.
bikes or road bikes. It's a pretty even split between mountain, road, city bikes, kids bikes. When we look at the analytics, it really feels
They have
good
kids
to
bikes.
know that
They have.
we're not just a one-trick pony.
They sell like these
You know,
fleet
history is
bikes
something that you
for
can't
down
buy.
in Florida for the
Legacy
tourists
is
to
something
use
that you
and stuff
can't
like these
buy.
trikes
And
and stuff.
reputation is something that you actually earn. Testament to perhaps the values that we learned many years ago, perhaps testament to the kind of company that we run. I cannot tell you how many companies that we've seen come and go. But the end result is we're still here, we're still growing, and not only do we have a very good presence here in the United States, but we're fortunate enough to be able to sell in 52 different markets around the world. We know how to stay in business,
I don't know whether this
continue
was
to
supposed to be
create
like a
great product in an
invest in our
environment that's
company
constantly
video
changing,
or something
and that's
like
something that we're very proud of that we've been able to do
I don't know.
since
I'm
1937.
convinced. Anyways. So that's Jamis bikes. Best bikes around. Don't get any better than that. I'll tell you what. You're not gonna find a better bike around. Never,
You have
not gonna
browser
find a better
layers. How
bike
about your
company.
alerts? And
Wow. How about it? All right. Let's do one more thing here. Because when we're talking about Meld Studio, let's watch something real. Well, how many minutes is this? I don't want to watch this whole thing.
you showed me just how easy this is. Chat watch. That's how you round your corners in Meld. If
Wow,
you've
that's how you round your
experienced
corners in
any
Meld.
other of the other
This
like
is
any
not
other
a
way to
great
do
one.
this.
Hold on a second. That's not a great one. Let me just see. Meld. Melds. Hello, can I spell? Meld Studio Beginner Tutorial. We just want something quick and dirty here, quick and fast. Just to get the basic getting started with Meld. Okay, there's nothing. You know what? I'm going to leave this for you to look up because there's nothing that's really quick that we can really watch. 5-minute setup. I will say it was like really fast. Yeah. It was really fast. And they have a whole, let me just show you. They have a whole YouTube page. It's got all of this stuff on. I've like watched a lot of this stuff. Talks about the widgets, how to add the widgets. They just added like an AI thing that is yeah, this is crazy. It's an AI thing.
brand new feature called Spark, where you can type in your ideas for overlays, widgets, chat interactive elements, and watch them all come to life in seconds. In that first video, we did kind of a surface level overview of all the things that were possible with Spark. And since launch, there have been a lot of questions about best practices. This is just a few examples of what is possible with Spark. Think of an idea, put that idea into Spark, and then let it bring your idea to life in real time.
This is like their AI.
This is a brand new feature that is baked right into Meld Studio. And today I'm going to show you 20 or most likely more use cases for Spark and how you can use it to take your content to the next level. If this is the first that you're hearing about Spark, you're in for a treat. Once you're updated to the new version and you're signed in, you can locate the Spark button on the right side of the app in that sidebar. Just click to open it. At first, you'll see some starting examples. You can kind of see what's possible right from the get-go. But down below is where you can enter in whatever idea you have and then send it to Spark and just start generating. So when you're ready, after you've watched this video to completion, just get on in there and start bringing those ideas to life. Everything that I'm showing you right now and everything that I will show was all created within Meld. And since there are so many things that we can create using this tool, it's best to break these up into a couple of categories. So we're going to dive into the following: general layers and overlays, entire scenes like starting soon or be right back,
these are all
alerts, widgets, and then just some random off-the-wall dope.
Zoomers and
okay.
stuff.
Oh, and then we'll cover a brand new asset library that's online, provided by Meld, that allows you to drag and drop things that other creators have created right into your Meld Studio. We'll start off with some really cool alerts, animations, or reactions to common stream alerts like follows, subs, raids, or other. Almost every one of these examples have been created by the Meld community, whether they are testers, Meld staff, or myself, and the content creator responsible I'll tag over here or up here.
What did I use for
somewhere
the
over
video
here?
at the
Want to
beginning?
spice things up a little bit? Why not allow a bag of Takis to rain down?
Let me see here. Let me see here. So in I use CapCut for video editing, and they have an AI thing in there. So I put in a static image. Let me see this. Hold on one second. Put my main camera up and let me look here, see if I could find the image that I used. So what I did was so all right, here's an example from the thumbnail, but that's not really what I need. I'll use this, but it's hollow. Can I let's do this. Nope, no signal. Okay. How do I share this? Anyways, all right, I'll have to figure that out because I don't really know how to do that. I don't really know how to do it. I don't really know how to do it, man. Hold on. Let's see. Screen share. All right, no signal. Cool. Let me see this. I'm going to add. I can't add a scene because I'm in it, so I can't. It won't let me do it. All right. Let me get out of this. Anyways, so I took an image of myself from a video and I put it in Google Flow, right? And asked it to come up with a scene where I am like, so in the beginning of it, I'll switch over. You should be able to still hear me. All right. So this here, you can hear me, right? So at the beginning of this, you see that there is this still image, right? That's the still image that I made with AI, not this show. The show will begin shortly at 8 p.m. is added in the software here, but that still image is what I did in Flow, right? So I took it was a screenshot of myself from another video, right? And I told Flow to add this to this scene and make it like a pastel picture kind of thing. And I told him, in the forest with a river and all this other stuff. And then I dropped it in CapCut and used the AI to animate it. And this is the animation that it came up with. And so it ends just before I ride off into the creek there. I don't know if you can tell, right at the end, it looks like I'm going to go whoop right off into the creek. And so I cut it there and I did a zoom in on the background, this image here. So I did a zoom in, and so I took the original one and put it at the end, and I zoomed in on the Santa Fred Adventures logo. So this was all pretty much done in CapCut except for the actual original picture there, and even animating that. And so I have I didn't add the other one, but at the end of my videos now, especially the most recent ones, you see the outro video that I have. That's completely animated in CapCut, and that wasn't there's no AI used on that. It's just overlays that I did and some of the special effects that you can find right in CapCut. So, yep, that's how I did it. Maybe I should, maybe I'll come up with a tutorial for it. I don't know. But, and then and so I use Upbeat for my music, for my videos. And Upbeat you can use it. It's a free service. They do have free service, but with the free service, you tend to have to fight. So if I use all the music that's on here, you can use for free, potentially. It gets a little weird. So you're supposed to be able to use it for free, but some of it's more free than others. You have to pay. So I pay $9 a month to use the music on here, right? And I listen to this at work. I'll put in a genre of music and I'll listen to it. So that's what we were listening to during the thing there. Hold on a second. So that's what we were like listening to. So the whole run up to the stream, I was playing this. So so I just let this run in the background. So you can use this like royalty free. But if you pay for it, you can this thing here, your channel is safe. You can safe list your channel right here, and you never have to worry about copyright strikes or anything like that. They just if you do get a copyright strike, all you have to do is just challenge it, and it's taken as little as 30 seconds to go away, after uploading it and getting the copyright straight. It is what it is, right? Then I made this for the break. Let me see this. Only because, from New York, right? How many times have we seen this? Old train in a train yard with graffiti on it. Might as well say Santa Fred Adventures, right? That's right. You know what I mean? I love the taste of beer. I just don't like what alcohol does to me. So, and in turn does to other people because I'm drunk, right? I never had an off switch until I just completely removed alcohol from my life. So, well, I've been going for almost 2 hours now. So, I think that I'm going to call it a stream. And, you know, I appreciate everybody that popped in. And, you know, I'll be back again. I'm going to try and stream once a week. Try and do a long form video once a week. You know, I just posted a video that was like over an hour long, and I had to cut down from like an hour and 45 minutes of footage. If you haven't gotten a chance to check that out, check it out. It's about an amazing find that I found. If you're local, Route 4 that runs from Waterford to Mechanicville, I ran into this cemetery that was like from 1801. And I must have driven by this cemetery hundreds of times and never really even realized it. And it was just by accident that I found it. And I was riding my bike. Must have driven by it, like I said, hundreds of times. But that's in that video. So I appreciate everybody that showed up. I appreciate all the comments. I appreciate all the fun and the discussion. And thanks for listening. And I'm gonna check out of here. I don't have an end screen. I just realized that. So what do I do? I don't know. I know what to do. So what I'm gonna do. See this? I hide that. There we go. Right? That works, right? Where's the main cam? There it is. That works, right? Okay. I guess that's all I'm gonna do for the end screen to get out of this thing. All right, everybody. Have a good night. I appreciate it. Take